Hello. Okay, so welcome to week 9. I know we are just flying through. Just kidding. Actually, this is dragging on. Uh, sorry. I swear, I'm really an optimistic person when we're in person. But being home, I'm over it. Everybody else, y'all feeling the same because I'm over it. Um, yeah, I'm done. I'm ready to be done. Okay, so let me just pull up something. This is going to be a short video. It's just about your rough draft because this Friday is your first rough draft that's due. I'm so excited. You guys should be too because it means that we're so much closer to being done. And if we remember your final rough draft or your final draft of your paper, sorry, is going to be due much sooner than the end of the semester because I am due to deliver on December 9th, and I know that our semester does not end for another like 2 weeks after that. So hopefully we can get this all squared away. Oh, where the fuck am I going? Desktop. Sorry, I should have had this pulled up, but I didn't even think of it. Rough draft guidelines. Here we are. So let me just make sure on this one before I start sharing shit. I have done that before where I've shared the wrong things. Oh, that is my kid. My kid is currently dressed up right now as Iron Man. He got a new Iron Man mask from Target, and when he opens it, it like glows blue. And he's wearing his Iron Man shirt and gloves. And he's riding a scooter in the middle of the street. So, it's just nothing to see here, folks. Just Iron Man. So I digress. Okay, here we go. Rough draft guidelines. It's going to be super simple. Like I said, super short video, which makes me happy, should make you guys happy. Anyway, so your research paper total has to be a length of 7 to 10 pages. 7 minimum, 10 maximum. People have gone over, and I don't really mind. Don't think that it's hard pressed at that max. But if it's at like 15 pages, I'm probably going to stop reading at like 12. However, this page length requirement, whether it's 7 or 10, does not include your works cited page. You need to hit 7 full pages of writing, and then your 8th page would be your works cited page, okay? You have to have 7 pages of content for it to be your minimum requirement. Oh, Iron Man has come inside. There he is. Thank you. You're so sweet. Okay, go back and play. Go. So, I know now you guys are like, oh, you should feel bad for all the times you call him a jerk. I still don't feel bad about it. Anyway, so for your first rough draft, you are not required to write 7 pages. So relax. You are only required to write 4 pages. Okay, so 4 full pages. This is not including your works cited. Do not include your works cited at this time. However, in your paper, you need to have your citations. Okay, so you should still be working on your works cited page. If you feel like submitting it, sure, but it is not required at this moment. Okay, that will be required with your second draft. So anyway, your first rough draft only needs to be 4 pages of content. Remember, no cover page. If you send me a cover page, I'm not grading it. You will get a 0. I don't want to see a cover page. Cover pages are non-existent in MLA. Okay, so your first page should look like this. Okay, my mouse doesn't get very big, but here we go. Okay, right here. So you'll see the heading, student's name, professor's name, the class, and the date. Okay, they have their header, which is the last name and page number. Okay, make sure you put that in. You will lose points if you don't. Your heading is double spaced. After that date, you hit enter 1 time. Then you hit the center button and put title. Just put a placeholder in for it. Do not worry about thinking of a title or not. Just have something in its place. Okay. Anyway, then hit enter 1 more time. Hit the left margin, okay, button. So like not centered, but the left one. And then start typing your paper. That's so easy. Anyway, okay, so then it says here, be sure to include your works cited page, which is a separate page that is coming with your second rough draft, not your first, so you can ignore that for right now. Do not worry about coming up with a title, as I just said. I usually find that the title will write itself after you've written your paper. You already know what you wrote, so you have a pretty good idea of how to give like an elevator pitch in 30 seconds if somebody said, what's your paper on? Okay. If somebody asks you that and you respond very quickly, that essentially is your title. That's how I look at it. Okay. But put something in that place if you don't have a title yet for your paper. Just put a title, something. I don't care what it says. Okay. Awesome paper, whatever it is, just to act as a placeholder so you remember to write a title in. Okay. My advice, type as much as you can first. Okay. The hardest thing is probably getting started and starting your introduction. If you can't think of what to do for your introduction, just start at the meat and potatoes. Occasionally, how I used to write papers was I would find quotes. So the first thing I would do would be find my quotes, write my page numbers of those quotes down on a piece of paper. The top of that paper would have the source, the name of the source. Okay. And then the quote with the page number. Okay. And then I would literally just copy and paste the quote on a piece of paper and write as much as I could about it. And I would kind of build my paper off of my quotes. It works sometimes, but not all the time. But it was just it was a way to kind of fill in some gaps. And I was like, okay, so I have this great quote. How do I introduce the quote? Okay, now how do I get to that point? So it was kind of like working backwards. Again, like I said, sometimes it helped, sometimes didn't, but it was just a different way to write a paper. Anyway, so after you type as much as you can, go back, proofread. Make sure, oh my God, I'm gonna kill my dog. Make sure your eyes, actually there shouldn't be any eyes because you're not writing in first person, you're writing in third. Make sure all proper nouns are capitalized. I cannot stress this enough. Okay, if you are somebody that writes on your phone typically and your phone is auto correcting your words, Microsoft Word, Google Docs doesn't do that. You need to make sure that you go back and, you're going to get a low grade if you don't proofread. And I'll be able to tell if you didn't proofread. Okay. I'm not trying to say that to like toot my own horn, but it does show out. It does show who proofreads and who doesn't. So anyway, make sure that you're going back, read your paper out loud. If no one else can read your paper to help you proofread, read your paper out loud, because then you're forced to read every word on the page. Instead of reading in our head where we skip words or sometimes omit words subconsciously because we know that they would exist there. Sometimes when we type, we're typing faster than like our brain is moving. So we sometimes forget simple things like prepositional phrases of, on, in, the, at, is, okay, things like that. So if you're reading out loud, you'll catch those moments. With that said, you want to make sure you also are not typing how you speak to people. Okay, remember this is academic writing, so we're switching gears to a more formal kind of writing. Again, this is where we're writing in third person using terms they, them, their, readers, viewers, listeners, watchers, people, persons. Okay, we're not using I, we, me, you. If there is a you, I'm highlighting it, you get points off. Okay, like I said earlier, if you're having a hard time starting your paper, your introduction, skip it, just write. Okay, you can come back to your introduction because once you've already written it, you know what you have to introduce. Okay. Anyway, so your first rough draft is only 4 full pages. You do not need to include a works cited. If you feel like including it, go ahead, but that will be your 5th page, not your 4th. All right, I would like at least half of the 4th page filled up. It makes your job easier when it comes to your second draft. That's it. That's all I got for you guys. Okay, so your first rough draft is due this Friday, October 30th by midnight. Seems simple, right? Okay, if you have questions, send me a message. I know that this weekend I was kind of MIA. Sorry about that, but I'm back now. And that's really it. You guys are also going to be reading The Mask of Red Death by Edgar Allan Poe. It's a great read. I think so. I think it's fairly short and pretty good. You could probably watch some YouTube thing on it. Just in time for Halloween. I love Poe. Who doesn't? He married his cousin. It's weird. Kind of cool, but kind of weird. No one thought anything of it. And she was like 15 years younger than him. Sorry. Anyway, I'm going to leave you guys with that tidbit of information. And I'm going to let you go. So don't stress too much about writing your rough draft, okay? I can't stress that enough. Do not stress out over this. It is not worth it. It is only 4 pages that you're typing, Okay, don't overthink it. Type what you need to, put some quotes in there, make sure your citations are in there, make sure you have a heading and headers, and that's all. All right, so with that, I will see you guys next week in my next video, and have a good week. Bye, guys.